So I'm having a cup of tea because it's warm, and as you can see I am wrapped in a blanket because I am freezing. I had a bit of a complication, and this cup of tea is not gonna end up being all in my stomach. I'll be taking a couple of sips of it and then I'll be putting it down, but I just like holding it because it's so warm. But basically I had a bit of an issue a couple of days ago. So we're currently on Friday, just before midnight, and yesterday I had to have my NJ tube replaced. Not because it blocked out, but on Wednesday my tube decided it didn't want to be in my stomach or in my bowel anymore, and it flipped while I was on feed into my stomach. So by the time my feed had finished, I ended up like being really, really poorly. And I knew there was something wrong instantly because my feed finished and I came off it. And as I came off it, I felt really, really ill. Like my heart was racing. I felt really nauseous. I just felt like just not myself. Like I felt really, really poorly. Instantly felt like I was not gonna be keeping my feed in. I'd been saying to Phil for a few days, like, I'm pretty sure the dog's whinging because she wants my cup of tea. But I'd been saying to Phil like for a couple of days that I think that my tube might be like in my stomach, or at least it's navigating there. Because I'd been spending the last few days like feeling really, really sick. Every time my feed finished, I'd feel really nauseous, and I was retching and kind of gagging a little bit. And I had a feeling that there was something not quite right with it. Anyway, so Wednesday when my feed finished, like I said, I started feeling really sick. Like I started feeling really poorly before it finished, but I kind of just try and persevere with it and just carry on. But for some reason, I couldn't, so I kind of turned it off a little bit before it finished. Started feeling really sick. So I disconnected, took my giving set off, took my bottle in the kitchen, put it on the side, and then I was going to empty the bottle, and I thought, actually no, before I do that I'll flush my tube, because when you finish any food whatsoever you're supposed to flush your tube. So I came back in, and as you know from previous videos, I do 10 90ml syringes of water a day down my tube. Now this is a 60ml syringe, so what I would do is I would open this, I'd fill it to 45ml, flush my tube, then do any medications and whatnot if I need to do medications. If not, then I'll do another 45ml and flush my tube again until I've done the 90ml, especially after feed and before feed and things like that. But yesterday, like after my feed had finished, I did like, not yesterday, the day before, I did 30ml of flush, and then I just knew I had to get to the bathroom. Now, fortunate for me, my bathroom is downstairs, so I was able to get to the bathroom quite quickly. Shut up, you're not having my cup of tea. So I got to the bathroom, and my feed and my tube decided to exit me. It was roughly around, I'd say about 4:20, something like that, I think. I'm trying to think what time it was. Isla, excuse me while I move this dog. It was roughly around 4:20, I guess. And obviously endoscopy closes, I think, at 5 for reception anyway. But the actual staff are there till 6. But I phoned them endoscopy and I explained that, have you seen this dog? Isla, what do you want? Do you want my cup of tea? She wants my cup of tea. You're not having my cup of tea. Here, have a bit of it. Here. There you go. There's my cup of tea. So yeah, so basically she always gets to the end of my cup of tea, by the way. Like, I'll drink a couple of mouthfuls and then it'll go to the dog, because I'm literally just holding the cup. Hold on. Yeah, I'm literally just holding the cup. Not a big fan, especially at this time of night. Anyway, so yeah, so I basically rung endoscopy when my tube came out, If you want to see what a tube looks like when it comes out, hang on, let me put my cup down and I'll show you. So basically, when my tube comes out, it is basically like this, sticking out your mouth, basically. So this coiled bit here is at the back of your throat, so you end up choking on it. So I had to physically get the lube that was hanging out my mouth because it was just making me more ill, and basically get my finger on it and just pull it to the point where the tube was hanging out my mouth, which I took a picture of and obviously posted on my TikTok and on my Instagram. Because people had been asking me how I was getting on with my tube, so I thought I'll just send a picture and show them that I'm not getting on very well with it. So anyway, I posted that, so if you want to see what that looks like, that's on my other socials. But yeah, I basically rung endoscopy because I was told when I had my tube fitted that if my tube was to block and I had trouble with it, or if my if it came out or I had any issues whatsoever, to call endoscopy. So I called endoscopy and I explained the situation, and they said to me, you need to call your dietitian. And I was really confused because dietitians don't deal with feeding tubes. They deal with obviously the nutritional side of things and putting the nutrition down your tube and things like that, but they don't physically deal with putting the tube in. That's the endoscopy department's job, and the gastric doctor's job. So I did what they told me to do. I got off the phone and I rung my dietitian. Cup of tea repeating on me now, just for one sip, like, sorry. So yeah, I rang the dietitians. Theirs was an answer machine, so I left a message, told them who my dietitian was, what had happened, what my name was, my date of birth, my NHS number, everything. Gave them all the details they asked for, gave them a phone number. Anyway, no one had come back to me. So I thought, you know what, like, dietitians close at 5, there's no one there now, no one's going to call me. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do without my tube, so I need to contact someone. So I found a letter with my gastric doctor, my new gastric doctor's number on it, not my old gastric doctor. And I phoned him up and I said, well, he wasn't in, and I spoke to a secretary, but it wasn't his secretary, it was just a general gastric doctor's secretary. And I explained to her what had happened and what I was told to do and what endoscopy had told me to do. And she went, why would they tell you to ring dietitians? I said, I don't know. I said, but that's what they told me to do. I said, I've left messages with dietitian. I said, but I am a patient of this doctor. So, you know, can you leave a message or whatever? I said, because I honestly don't know what I'm supposed to do. So she went, yeah, no problem. She said, but he's not in today. She said, I will leave a message for his secretary. She said, but while you're waiting, she said, I will contact the doctor that's currently on call, and to do with referrals, and see whether he knows anything or whether there's anything that you can do. So I said, yeah, all right then. So I think it was about 10 to 5 on Wednesday evening. You're looking at about 20 minutes after I'd literally brought my tube up. I got a phone call off the hospital from a lovely doctor who I don't have as a gastric doctor, but he is a lovely doctor. And he basically told me to go in yesterday morning at 9:30 and they would squeeze me in between patients. He said he didn't know how long I'd have to wait for, but could I go in for 9:30? So I said, yeah, sure, no problem. And obviously, because I have sedation, he told me to come with somebody who was over 18. So I went with my daughter, who's not long turned 18. So I went with her. And within, like, I think I got to the hospital about 20 to 10 because I was running late and everyone seemed to be dawdling in front of me. Which was a bit of a nightmare because, you know, when you're in a rush, everyone just seems to dawdle. Excuse me, everyone, like, there was a woman with a child and she knew I was behind her, but she just would not move out of the way of my chair. So I physically had to wait till the pavement got bigger to kind of get around her, and then basically keep going. So I finally got up to endoscopy at about 20 to 10, and then by 10:30, I'd actually kept my bracelets from last week when I was in for a procedure last week, which was a different scope. which I'll talk about another time, but I'd actually still had my bracelet, so I basically just slipped them back on, and I just told him, like, don't print any new bracelets off because I still have my old bracelets from last week. So he was like, all right then, no problem. So I had my allergy bracelet on, and I had my name band bracelet on, and within, I think it was like 45 minutes, which seemed to go really, really quickly, I got told by the nurse to go in, go through the consent form, go through everything, because the doctor was ready for me. And it luckily for me, it was the doctor that had rung me the day before. He fitted me in, and he was dead nice. He gave me the 2 lots of sedation that I'm supposed to have, because one sedation drug does not do anything for me, and obviously local anaesthetic doesn't do anything for me, and they spray so much local anaesthetic in my throat, like it literally makes my eyes pour, but I physically couldn't, it doesn't really do much. It kind of just makes me feel like I can't breathe, but he basically sprayed my throat. I had my cannula in. He gave me like the dose of medication that doesn't usually do anything for me, and then he gave me the other medication that makes me calm enough so that they can do things, but without me having to gag and choke and feel really uncomfortable with the air in my stomach and everything. So he then placed the tube, and he was having trouble placing it at first, and then he was like, okay, so he pulled the scope out, and then he was just like pushing and pushing and pushing the tube, and he was like, okay, this is going in really easily, like I don't think it's in the right place. So because of that, I've got 2 choices. He could either leave the tube in, send me for x-ray, and then see if it was in the right place, and if it wasn't, then go back down, or he could just take it out and then redo it. So we opted to kind of just check first, because he was half convinced it was in and half convinced it wasn't. So we decided to go for x-ray. By the time I'd finished, it was about 12 o'clock. I went down to x-ray, and they checked it, and all I could hear the x-ray person say was it was coiled and in the stomach. So I already knew that I'd have to go back down to endoscopy and have it done again. So I went back up to endoscopy, into the recovery section again, and I waited and waited and waited all afternoon yesterday, and the dietitians had rung me and the ward, because they'd seen that I was in the hospital. They told them that I'd been in, had my tube fitted and gone, when I was still at the hospital. When they phoned me, I explained the situation, I explained I was still at the hospital. They'd fitted my tube, but it coiled. It was still in my stomach, and it was supposed to be in my bowel. So the boot had to redo it. I said, so I'm just waiting to go back down again to have it redone. And she was like, oh, okay. She said, I'm not really sure why they told you to ring us. And I said, neither did I. She said, you did the right thing by ringing endoscopy and then obviously ringing your gastric doctor. Funny enough, my gastric doctor was on duty yesterday, but I didn't see him. And then about 4:30, they came and got me again and took me back down to place this tube. And he said that he was like 99.9% sure that he actually had it in the right space, because when he pulled the scope out, he was getting like the bile, so the bile that's in your bowel was coming out with the scope. So he said, I'm almost certain that it's in the right place now. He said, I don't think you need an x-ray to check it. He said, I'm pretty 100% sure now that is exactly where it is. So I said, fine. He's put this weird like screw end on. I don't know if you can see this white thing here, which screws back this way, and this one screws that way. So this one will screw, so this one screws this way, and that one screws that way. You know what I mean? So it's like 2 ends of a half. I'm not really sure why this one screws off. I don't even really know what this bit's for. And obviously this is the bit that you unscrew to get your flushes and everything down, and your feed. Okay, I need to try and screw that back on. And they usually stick a green stick around here, which he forgot to do because obviously he was running behind and he was kind of rushing, which usually has the time, the date, and what length tube and who fitted it. But this tube is different to the rest of them. So like the last few tubes I've had, every time you've curved this round your ear, and obviously it stays around your ear a lot, it kind of hurts because it's quite rigid. And it kind of molds into like this curve like this every time you do it. But for some reason, this doesn't mold to your ear. So it's like just flexible. You can bend it and twist it and everything like really, really well. Like it's really flexible and it's really soft. I can literally pinch it closed. Like it's so much softer than the last tube I had. But with these green dashes, it tells you how long the tube is. It's at 180 centimeters. So from my bowel to here is 180 centimeters. It's at my nose at 130, so it's actually 20 centimeters deeper than what it usually is. So yeah, but he hasn't left it too long. Normally they leave it till it's the point where it's around my waist, and he hasn't left it too long around me at the minute. So like I said, normally there's an extra 20 mils, like not 20 mils, 20 centimeters hanging out. So yeah, I'm quite glad that he fitted the tube. But the second placement again, because obviously I'd already had sedation, I think they had to physically wait till that sedation had worn off enough before they put me back under sedation again, before they could do it again as well. Because obviously I had to have sedation again yesterday after they'd already fitted the tube and it was in the wrong place. They basically just yanked that tube out and then they basically put me back under sedation to place this tube. I've obviously used this tube for flushes today and yesterday, and I will probably, because my bowel is quite sore and because of the trauma of having the scope down twice, I've been kind of coughing up blood clots kind of thing. So I've kind of been coughing up blood, like thick, like it's old blood, because obviously it's whatever was bleeding has stopped now. But I think to kind of let my gut settle and everything else, I'm staying off feed for a few days and just doing flushes only. And then I'll start my feeds back up again on Monday. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing. But I've never threw my tube up before, so this was a new experience. I am due to get a PEG-J fitted soon. I don't know when. I'm due to see my gastric doctor on the 3rd of October to discuss placement and him to answer any questions I might have and figure out if I'm doing it under general anaesthetic or under endoscopy sedation. And then obviously discuss anything else that needs to just be discussed, and then hopefully he can get me in pretty quickly to get it sorted, because I need at least 6 weeks recovery, because I'm due to go away soon, and obviously I want to feel well in myself before I go, and there's a 6-week recovery for an average person, and I'm not an average person. So yeah, I'm kind of hoping that I'm able to go away for a few days with some friends and just enjoy myself without worrying about my tube too much. I'm not even that bothered if I go with this tube, to be honest, but I'd rather go with the one in my abdomen because I think it would be better. But we'll just have to wait and see. But as always, I'll keep you guys posted. I'll come back on and let you guys know about the 2 procedures I had last week another time. But yeah, that's what's happened over the last 48 hours. I've ended up bringing up my tube because it had flipped into my stomach, and then I had to have it replaced. I'm actually quite astounded because they managed to get me in quite quickly. They got me in the day after my tube came out, which is unusual. It's probably one of the best things the hospital's ever done for me, actually. They've worked so quickly getting this tube back in me. I can't be any more grateful that they did that. I actually thought, because obviously with the Queen passing and given the fact that it's bank holiday now on Monday, I would have thought I would have had to wait till at least the middle of next week before I could get it fitted. And they managed to get me in the day after, so I was so grateful for that. And yes, I was there all day and I didn't get home till 6:30, but I am so grateful that they managed to fit my tube yesterday. Like, it makes my life so much easier. But yeah, if you've got any questions about anything, then please don't feel afraid to message me below. Or as always, if you want a more personal chat, you can, or have a more personal question, you can always DM me on my Instagram, which I always link below. Like I said, if you want to know any more information, you can just message me at any time. I'll get back to you when I can. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you subscribe, you'll also be alerted if you press the bell to when I've posted my next videos, so that you can keep up to date with my daily life or my weekly life or whatever you want to see. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the bank holiday weekend, and I hope that those that are quite sad about the Queen passing are, you know, okay on Monday, and you know, she'll be laid to rest. And you know, 70 years of reign is quite a long time, so you know, it's going to be like a very quiet day on Monday, but busy weekend, so everyone's going to be out doing the shopping and whatnot. But yeah, I hope you guys have a nice weekend and you don't take Monday. You know, it doesn't hurt you too much on Monday when the Queen is laid to rest. But like I said, I hope you have a nice weekend anyway. So thank you again, and I will speak to you guys soon. And I'm going to go and give my dog some tea before I go to bed. Good night, guys, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye.